Happy Monday. The last few weeks, we have talked about hope as a strategy. And now that we've finished up that series, today I want to talk a little bit about the importance of self-reflection and self-awareness.
And I would say self-reflection and self-awareness probably go under the H too. Sorry, I cannot get the hope as a strategy out of my head. So I'm just going to keep relating it back.
That sounds good, Morgan. And so how does H and the habits fit in with self-reflection in your mind?
I think there's a lot of ways that it can fit in, but one thing that sticks out to me specifically this week, as it's been a week full of rainy days, we had some sunshine, but you know, along with that comes toddlers not getting their way, and we're just kind of in that season right now and full on tantrums. And so I think where you look at reflecting as a parent, and I'm sure we've all been there, I hope we have, I hope it's not just me, where how do you handle those tantrums? And so it says a lot about you whenever you approach that. And it says a lot about, moving forward with your child too, right? So you could approach it by yelling at them and saying, hey, I'm going to spank your butt. You need to behave. But a lot of times, whenever you take that route, it just heightens the tantrum and it just makes it worse. And so, a lot of times, when they're in the middle of it, I think we recognize just take a step back, let them have a minute, and then go up and pour calmness into them and be gentle and say, hey, buddy, it's okay. Let's go do something else. What else do you want to talk about? Sometimes we try exercises. He's really into animal words now and their sounds. So we'll just say, what does the chicken say? And he'll go, honk, honk. And then it'll go into a laugh. And, the tantrum's over. So I think sometimes as you relate it to the toddler world, that's what comes to mind this week.
Yeah. So you use that strategy of changing the subject to try to get his mind off of what he's not getting that he wants.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah. Well, that reminds me a little bit about something that John Maxwell talks about. And, this is all about relationships. It's you're teaching your child how to relate to others as you relate to him. And those relationships are so important. And John Maxwell reminds us that most people usually use two different sets of criteria for judging themselves versus others. So we tend to judge others according to their actions. It's very cut and dried, but then we judge ourselves based on our intentions. So when we mess up, if we believe our motives are good, then we let ourselves off of the hook. We aren't often willing to do that for other people. So for us, it requires making that mistake over and over again before change happens. And in my opinion, that's why self-reflection is so important, because we need to self-reflect and improve our level of self-awareness so that we know that the habits that we're implementing every day are habits for personal and professional growth.
I think that's spot on.
So in doing that, one of the other things that I find really important as we wrap up the end of the school year, it's stressful and it's busy and there's a lot of things going on. And the way that I have been dealing with my stress lately is journaling and reading the Bible. And I find that also helps me self-reflect, and it helps me to self-reflect in an intentional way against the Word of God. So I think you have a quote that you're going to leave us with for today.
I don't think it's so much a quote. I think it's more of a Bible verse, right? I think
Perfect.
your quote was from Maxwell. And so this is more of a Bible verse, and it comes out of Matthew. So what we're looking at today is Matthew 4:4. And so Jesus answered, it is written, people do not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God.
So self-reflecting against the Word of God. If you have that Word of God in your heart, you are kind of looking at yourself through that lens. And I think that's important as well, because we need that spiritual nourishment. We need to develop those coping skills, and we need to develop those habits of self-reflection so we can improve our level of self-awareness. So with that, we will leave you with Matthew 4:4, and I hope everyone has a great week.
Have a good week.